Hello everyone, welcome to Speak Aloud. My name is Hua, and in this video, I want to share with you about my journey of learning English, how I started, what kind of methods and approaches that I applied, what works for me and what doesn't. So this is just personal experience, and it might be helpful or not for you, but hopefully you can take something away from it. Alright, let's get started. So back in the day, about more than 20 years ago, English wasn't taught in my hometown until high school. So some of you may wonder, why high school? Why so late? And here's why. So the place I was born were a poor fishing village where education was not sufficiently valued by people there. The majority of the parents would thought the same, that their children only needed to learn some basic skills and knowledge about math, Vietnamese literature, and science for basic needs of life, such as being able to read, write, and do some calculations, some basic calculation. That's it. English wasn't seen as an important subject then, so just when we got into high school, we firstly got exposed to English. However, at high school, we were only taught grammar, reading, and comprehension. So most of us believe that being good at grammar and knowing a lot of vocabularies means being good at English. I know this is totally a wrong perception, but at that point we had no idea about speaking and listening skills, and we just really believe so. I hold that idea until I entered university, and it's when the reality just hit me hard and really opened my eyes. On the first day at university, the lecturer just played an audio tape and required us to fill in the gap and answer the questions based on what we heard from the recording. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear much. I couldn't even understand the general idea, the main idea of the conversation between native speakers from the recording. So I was really disappointed about myself because I thought I was good enough at English, but it turned out not to be true. So in the first place, I thought it was because of the lack of vocabularies. But later that day, I just checked the transcript at the back of the book, and surprisingly, I just found out that, oh my goodness, I knew most of those words. They were not new to me, so why couldn't I hear them? Why couldn't I understand them? Obviously, it was pronunciation problem. Why? So back in high school, we only learned grammar and reading, something like that, right? So it's just like we learn through the eyes, not through the ears. So that's why I could easily recognize a word by how it looks when it is written. But when it comes to listening, it's really hard for me to recognize the word by how it sounds, because my ears didn't get familiar with the sound of that word. So that's why with the same word, the way native speakers spoke was different from how I thought it's supposed to be pronounced. I knew that I needed to do something. So when I got home, I did everything I could to improve my English. I tried to consume as much English as possible through listening and reading. So I trained my ears by listening to music, watching movies and TV shows, and I learned more vocabularies by reading newspapers and stories, etc. So guess what? After a while learning English this way, my listening and vocabularies were just significantly improved. However, I saw no improvement and speaking skills. So I decided that I would go to the park nearby, finding some native speakers, some foreigners to practice speaking English with. Unfortunately, due to the lack of social knowledge on some certain matters of life and having no skills on how to keep a conversation going in an interesting way, plus the fear of making mistakes, I couldn't hold the conversation for long. And whenever I got asked, it really took me time to think about the answer. It's just like there's a procedures going on in my head that, okay, first I need to pull out a suitable word, then I translate them from Vietnamese into English, and then put all the words together into a sentence, with a right or perfect grammatical structures. It was really stressful and it delayed my response. In other words, it caused fluency problems. At that point, I also realized another problem. It is about the way I learn vocabularies, because even though I learned a lot of new words, I just easily forgot them after some time. Turned out that, I just learned individual words without a specific context, so there's no impression about that word. That's why most of the words just quickly faded away from my memory. This actually is a common problem among a lot of English learners. I got stuck at this problem for 1 or 2 years or so, but I never stopped searching for a way to deal with it. Eventually, my effort paid off, and I finally found out the method that works out the best for me. It is imitation and shadowing technique. You may have heard of it, right? With this technique, I just imitated everything from the native speakers. I copied the way they sound, I repeated after them, and at the same time, I also trained my voice with a program of pronunciation and American accent training. This way, I learned to speak English naturally. Everything seems so good now, right? But no, from here, another problem arose. Here's what it is. So back then, I obsessed over my pronunciation. I didn't want to have a thick Vietnamese accent, so I worked really hard to imitate every native speakers to be able to speak in an authentic way. However, I made one big mistake along the way. Instead of embracing my true identity and considering how I want to sound, who I want to sound like, I just imitated every native speakers I found from YouTube or movies. But I didn't know where the fact that each person goes with a different speaking style, different accent, or a different tone of voice. In my case, back then I was pursuing American accent, right? But the US has 50 states, and each state has different accent. I mean, people from California speak differently from people from Ohio, Miami, Arizona, or New York. Not to mention that people from the countryside speak differently from people from the urban. So if I just imitate everyone, I don't have my own voice. Also, another problem comes up because what we choose to imitate will affect the way we speak English. Because we will absorb both good and bad speaking habits from the native speakers while imitating from them. The good habit could be named like having correct pronunciation, clear pronunciation, and natural intonation. But the bad one could be like mumbling, cursing, being negatively sarcastic, using aggressive words, and sometimes try to speak fast to fit in, to be like him. I did. I used to be like that. I tried to speak fast to fit in that group of people, but later on I just found out that, oh my goodness, this is not me. This is not who I am, and I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to be like that. So here's a message I want to deliver to all of you who are watching my video here. It is, before you imitate anyone, please make sure that you want to sound like that. Okay? And that's it. Okay, it is my whole journey of learning English until now. And up to now, I'm still applying the method of learning vocabularies and the imitation, the shadowing techniques. Actually, there are two different things, imitation and shadowing. If you are interested in getting to know more about how to apply, how to practice imitation and shadowing techniques, please subscribe to my channel because I'm going to talk about this in another video. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. We'll see you in another video. Bye!